Hello, and welcome back to Sleeping Gift. Tonight, allow me to share a story titled Bedtime Story Animation: The Child and the Twilight Cloud Pony. Before we go any further, take a slow, gentle breath in. Let the quiet air fill your chest. Then exhale softly. Release every burden you've been carrying. Allow your imagination to gently guide you into this story. Now, let us begin the tale.
The afternoon sun poured through the window like warm honey, painting long, lazy rectangles across the floor of Leo's room. Outside, the world moved slowly, drowsy with the weight of the day. Leo lay on his back, watching the ceiling where dancing light patterns shimmered, reflections from the glass of water on his bedside table. His breathing was soft, a gentle tide coming in and going out, in and out. The faint hum of distant lawnmowers seemed miles away, a sleepy summer song. His eyelids felt heavy, but not with tiredness, with contentment. This was his favorite time, the golden hour when anything felt possible. He turned his head toward the window. The sky was a perfect canvas of blue, but at the edges, clouds had begun to gather. Not storm clouds, but soft, pillowy clouds that drifted without hurry. They were the color of whipped cream, with hints of gold where the sun touched them. Leo smiled. He knew what to look for. Every afternoon, if he watched patiently, one cloud would separate from the others. It would drift just a little closer to his window, as if curious. And today was no different. There, near the horizon, a particular cloud detached itself from the flock. It was slightly rounder than the others, with wispy tendrils that looked like a flowing mane. Leo sat up slowly, his movement gentle so as not to startle the quiet of the room. He whispered the words, so soft they were almost just a breath. "Hello, friend." The cloud seemed to tremble with recognition. It drifted closer, taking shape as it moved. The wispy tendrils became a graceful neck and a flowing tail. The round body formed 4 delicate legs that danced through the air. A head took shape, with ears that perked forward, listening. This was Cloud Dancer, the pony woven from afternoon dreams and sunset promises. Leo had discovered their friendship one sleepy summer day, and now every afternoon when the light turned golden, Cloud Dancer would appear. The cloud pony neared the window, becoming more solid with each moment. Its form was made of swirling mist and light, but when Leo reached out, he could feel a cool, soft presence, like touching a gentle breeze given shape. "Are you ready?" Leo whispered. Cloud Dancer nodded, a graceful dip of its misty head. Its eyes were the color of the sky just before twilight, a soft, deep blue with flecks of silver like the first stars.
Leo climbed onto the windowsill, moving with the careful slowness of a ritual performed many times before. Cloud Dancer pressed close, its form cool against Leo's skin. The pony was just the right size, not too big, not too small, perfect for a child to ride. With a gentle leap, Leo was on Cloud Dancer's back. There was no saddle, no bridle. Leo simply held on to the soft mane that flowed like morning fog between his fingers. It felt like holding on to strands of cool silk that never slipped away. "To the orange sky," Leo said softly. Cloud Dancer stepped forward, not walking, but flowing, out the window and into the open air. There was never a moment of falling, only a smooth transition from inside to outside, from solid ground to open sky. They rose slowly, ascending as gently as a feather caught in an updraft. Leo looked down and saw his house growing smaller, his yard becoming a patchwork quilt of green and brown. The trees looked like broccoli florets, the cars like colorful beetles moving along gray ribbons. But Leo didn't look down for long. He looked up, toward where the sky was beginning to change. The pure blue of afternoon was softening at the edges, like watercolor paint bleeding on paper. Hints of apricot and peach touched the horizon. Cloud Dancer's hooves made no sound as they trotted through the air. Each step left a tiny puff of mist that hung for a moment before dissolving. The air smelled different up here, cleaner, cooler, with a hint of coming evening. Leo took a deep breath, filling his lungs with sky air. He felt Cloud Dancer's sides expand and contract beneath him with a rhythm as steady as a lullaby. In and out, in and out. They passed through a wisp of cloud, and for a moment, everything was soft white mist. Leo could see nothing but the gentle gray all around him, could feel nothing but the cool dampness on his skin. Then they emerged, and the world was clearer than before. "Higher," whispered, and Cloud Dancer obliged, climbing with gentle determination. The sun was lower now, painting the undersides of clouds with gold leaf. Shadows grew longer across the land below, stretching eastward like sleepy cats after a nap. Everything was quiet up here, the perfect quiet of great height and gentle motion. Leo lay forward, resting his cheek against Cloud Dancer's neck. The misty coat was cool against his skin, a perfect contrast to the warm golden light that bathed them. He could hear a faint sound, like distant wind chimes, though there was no wind. It was the sound of Cloud Dancer's being, a soft, musical hum. They climbed higher still, leaving the ordinary world behind. The air grew cooler, but not cold, a refreshing coolness that made Leo feel awake and peaceful at the same time. He closed his eyes for a moment, trusting Cloud Dancer completely. When he opened them again, they had reached the place where the sky changes. Below them was still the blue of day. Ahead was the beginning of twilight. The orange began as a thin line on the horizon, like the edge of a giant peach. But as Cloud Dancer carried Leo toward it, the color deepened and spread, washing across the sky in gentle waves. First came the pale orange of apricots newly ripe, then the deeper orange of pumpkins in autumn fields, then the rich orange of marigold petals and sunset flames. The color didn't hurt Leo's eyes. It was soft and welcoming, like the glow from a fireplace on a winter evening. They entered the Orange Twilight, and everything changed. The light here had weight and texture. It felt like being wrapped in a warm, colorful blanket. The air shimmered with gold dust that never settled, but danced just at the edge of vision. Cloud Dancer's misty coat took on the orange hue, glowing from within as if lit by gentle lanterns. Leo's own skin looked touched with sunset, his hands appearing dipped in liquid light when he held them up. "It's beautiful," Leo breathed, and his words hung in the air for a moment, visible as tiny orange sparkles that slowly faded. Cloud Dancer whinnied softly, a sound like wind through pine trees, and nodded agreement. The pony seemed more substantial here in the twilight, its form more defined against the colorful sky. Together they flew through canyons of orange cloud,
walls of vapor that rose on either side like mountains made of dreams. Sometimes the clouds were thick and substantial, and Cloud Dancer would weave between them with graceful turns. Other times they were wispy and transparent, and pony and rider would pass right through them, emerging on the other side, trailing streamers of mist. Leo reached out a hand as they passed through a particularly soft cloud. It felt like cool cotton candy that dissolved at his touch, leaving only damp coolness on his skin. He laughed, and the sound was absorbed by the vast, gentle sky. Cloud Dancer picked up speed, flowing through the orange twilight like a fish through warm water. The motion was so smooth that Leo felt no wind, only a gentle pressure against his face. He looked down and saw that the world below had transformed. The lakes and rivers had become ribbons of molten copper, reflecting the orange sky. Forests were dark green smudges edged with gold. Towns were clusters of tiny lights beginning to wink on as evening approached. But Leo's favorite sight was still ahead, the mountains.
They appeared first as shadows against the glowing sky, jagged shapes that rose like the spine of the sleeping earth. The mountains stood tall and silent, their peaks dusted with snow even in summer, eternal sentinels between earth and sky. Cloud Dancer changed course, angling toward the highest peak. The ponies seemed to know this was their destination. This was part of their ritual. As they drew closer, Leo could see details he never could from below. He saw the individual rocky outcrops, the crevices where shadows pooled like dark water, the streaks of different colored stone, gray and brown and reddish-orange, that matched the twilight sky. They reached the first mountain, and Cloud Dancer flew alongside it rather than over it. This way, Leo could reach out and touch the stone if he wanted. He did want. As they passed a particularly accessible outcrop, Leo stretched out his hand. His fingers brushed against cold, rough stone. The rock felt ancient and solid, so different from Cloud Dancer's misty softness. It was a reminder of the earth below, steadfast and unchanging. "Hello, mountain," Leo whispered, and somewhere deep in the stone, he imagined he felt a rumbling reply, not a sound, but a vibration, the mountain's slow geological dream. Cloud Dancer carried him higher, toward the peak where snow clung despite the summer warmth below. The air grew colder here, and Leo shivered slightly. Immediately, Cloud Dancer's misty coat grew warmer, radiating gentle heat that enveloped Leo like a blanket. They reached the snow line, and Cloud Dancer landed softly on a windswept ledge, not with a thud, but with the gentle settling of fog on a hillside. The pony's hooves made no impression in the snow. They were too light, too made of cloud. Leo slid off Cloud Dancer's back, his feet sinking slightly into the crisp, white snow. It was colder here, a clean, sharp cold that made his cheeks tingle. He breathed in, and the air felt like drinking cold, clear water. From this height, he could see for miles. The world spread out below like a giant's quilt, stitched together with rivers and roads, dotted with towns and forests. The orange twilight made everything magical, transformed. Cloud Dancer nudged Leo gently with its nose, a cool, misty touch. Then the pony bent its head and took a mouthful of snow. But instead of eating it, Cloud Dancer blew it out in a sparkling cloud that caught the twilight and fractured it into 1,000 tiny rainbows. Leo laughed and clapped his hands. The sound was small and perfect in the mountain silence. He made a snowball, packing it carefully between his mittened hands. It was perfect snow, not too wet, not too dry. He held it up, and Cloud Dancer sniffed it curiously, leaving little misty hoofprints on its surface. "For you," Leo said, and placed the snowball gently on the ground. Cloud Dancer touched it with a hoof, and the snowball began to glow with soft orange light, as if it had absorbed the twilight. They stayed on the mountain peak as the sky deepened from orange to dusky purple. The first star appeared, a single point of silver in the east, then another and another, until the sky was sprinkled with them like sugar on a dark cake. It was time to go home. Leo climbed back onto Cloud Dancer's back, his movements slow with contentment. The mountain peak seemed to bid them farewell, the snow glowing faintly where they had stood. With a gentle leap, Cloud Dancer was airborne again, leaving the mountain behind. But this time, they didn't fly horizontally. They descended, drifting downward as gently as a maple seed spiraling to earth. The descent was even slower than the ascent. Cloud Dancer seemed to want to prolong their journey, to give Leo every last moment of sky and stars. The pony spread its misty wings, wings Cloud Dancer hadn't noticed before, and they caught the air, slowing their fall to a leisurely drift. Stars multiplied around them, not just above, but on all sides, as if they were floating through a galaxy. Some stars were bright and steady, others twinkled like distant candle flames. A few shot across the sky, leaving brief silver trails that faded almost immediately. Leo reached for a particularly bright star that seemed close enough to touch. His fingers closed around empty air, but as he opened his hand, a tiny silver light glowed in his palm for a moment before winking out. "Stardust," he whispered to Cloud Dancer, who whinnied softly in reply. As they descended, the orange twilight faded behind them, replaced by the deep blue of evening. The world below was mostly dark now, but dotted with clusters of lights, towns and cities waking up for the night. Leo could pick out his own town, a smaller cluster with familiar patterns. He could see the main road that curved like a glowing snake, the park that was a dark rectangle in the middle of town, the river that reflected the moon. Cloud Dancer followed an invisible path downward, spiraling gently as they fell. The air grew warmer as they left the high altitudes, losing its sharp mountain chill. The familiar sense of earth rose to meet them: damp grass, blooming night flowers, wood smoke from someone's fireplace. They passed through a flock of birds heading to their roosts for the night. The birds flowed around Cloud Dancer and Leo without alarm, as if recognizing them as fellow creatures of the air. One brave sparrow landed briefly on Cloud Dancer's mane, before fluttering off to join its companions. Lower they went, until individual houses became distinct, until Leo could see cars moving along streets like glowing beetles, until he could hear the distant sounds of evening, a dog barking, a door closing, children being called inside. Cloud Dancer slowed their descent even further, until they were drifting just above the treetops. Leo reached out and touched the leaves of an oak tree as they passed. The leaves were cool and slightly damp with evening dew. "Almost home," Leo said, and Cloud Dancer nodded, a hint of sadness in the dip of its head. Their journey was ending, as all journeys must. Leo's house came into view, a familiar shape in the gathering dark. His window was still open, a square of yellow light in the dusk. Inside, Leo could see the edge of his bed, his pillow waiting. Cloud Dancer flew toward the window with the certainty of one who has made this journey many times. The pony didn't hurry, but moved with deliberate slowness, savoring these last moments together. They passed over the backyard, where fireflies were beginning their evening dance, floating up from the grass like living stars. One particularly bright firefly flew up to meet them, circling Cloud Dancer's head 3 times before floating back down to join its companions. "Thank you for the light show," Leo whispered to the fireflies, though they were already far below. Now they were at the window. Cloud Dancer hovered there for a long moment, looking in at Leo's room. The bedside lamp was on, casting a warm golden circle on the floor.
The pillow on Leo's bed looked soft and inviting. With infinite gentleness, Cloud Dancer stepped through the window, carrying Leo back into his room. The transition from outside to inside was as smooth as it had been hours before when they left. But instead of landing on the floor, Cloud Dancer flew straight to Leo's bed. The pony hovered above the pillow, its misty form beginning to soften at the edges, becoming less distinct. "Time to sleep," Leo said, not with sadness, but with contentment. He slid from Cloud Dancer's back, not onto the bed, but into it, pulling back the covers and slipping between the sheets. They were cool and smooth against his skin. Cloud Dancer whinnied softly, a sound like distant wind chimes, and nuzzled Leo's cheek with its misty nose. The touch was cool and gentle, like a breeze through an open window. Then, slowly, Cloud Dancer began to settle onto the pillow. Not as a pony landing, but as a cloud descending. The misty form lost its shape, becoming first a pony-shaped cloud, then just a cloud, then a soft, fluffy mass of white. The cloud settled onto Leo's pillow, molding itself to the shape. It glowed softly with a light that seemed to come from within, a gentle moonlit glow that filled the room with soft illumination. Leo laid his head on the cloud pillow. It was the perfect combination of soft and supportive, cool but not cold. It smelled of sky and distant places, of orange twilight and mountain air. He looked up one last time and saw Cloud Dancer's eyes looking back at him from within the cloud, 2 points of soft blue light that blinked slowly, lovingly. "Good night, friend," Leo whispered. The eyes blinked one more time, then faded, becoming part of the cloud. The cloud itself began to lose its glow, becoming an ordinary pillow once more, soft, white, and perfect for dreaming. From the pillow, Leo heard one last sound, so faint he might have imagined it. The whisper of wind through pine trees, the distant chime of stars, the quiet hum of a cloud pony's heart. He smiled, his eyes already closing. Outside his window, the last of the twilight faded to deep blue, then to black. Stars multiplied in the sky, keeping watch over sleeping children and their dreams. In his dreams, Leo was flying again, through orange twilight and starry darkness, on the back of a cloud pony, who was both friend and dream, both real and imagined. And in the borderland between waking and sleeping, he couldn't tell which was more true, the flying or the dreaming. It didn't matter. Both were perfect. Both were his.
As Leo drifted deeper into sleep, the boundaries between his room and the twilight sky blurred. The pillow beneath his head seemed to soften further, becoming once more the cloud that was Cloud Dancer in resting form. In his dream, he felt himself rising, not from his bed, but within it. The ceiling above him dissolved into open sky, first the deep blue of evening, then slowly lightening to the orange twilight he had flown through earlier. He was riding Cloud Dancer again, but this time they weren't flying across the sky, they were flying through it, as if the sky had depth and texture and places to explore that weren't possible in waking flight. They passed through a cloud that wasn't white, but shimmering silver, like the inside of a seashell. The cloud hummed with a musical note, low and resonant, that vibrated through Leo and Cloud Dancer both. "What is this place?" Leo asked in his dream. Cloud Dancer didn't answer with words, but with images that appeared in Leo's mind, pictures of moonbeams collecting in clouds, of starlight condensing into mist, of the quiet music the spheres make as they turn through space. They emerged from the silver cloud into a place where the sky was not orange, but a soft lavender, the color of dusk just before true night. Here, the clouds were different shapes, not ponies or animals, but familiar objects from Leo's life, rendered in mist and light. There was a cloud that looked like his favorite teddy bear, floating serenely with a smile stitched in silver thread. There
was a cloud shaped like the cookie jar from his grandmother's kitchen, with wispy tendrils that smelled of cinnamon and nutmeg. There was even a cloud that looked like his father's reading chair, complete with a newspaper made of swirling gray mist. Cloud Dancer flew close to each of these cloud shapes, allowing Leo to reach out and touch them. The teddy bear cloud felt like plush velvet. The cookie jar cloud smelled even more strongly of spices when he came here. The chair cloud seemed to invite him to sit, though he stayed on Cloud Dancer's back. "These are my memories," Leo realized aloud in his dream. Cloud Dancer nodded, its misty mane flowing like a river of light. The pony understood. These clouds were formed from the happy moments of Leo's life, the comfortable memories that made him feel safe and loved. They flew on, through the lavender sky, leaving the memory clouds behind. Now they entered a region where the clouds were not shaped like anything familiar, but were simply beautiful, swirling patterns of color and light that changed as they watched. One cloud looked like a spiral galaxy, spinning slowly with stars caught in its arms. Another looked like the northern lights, with ribbons of green and purple dancing through its form. A third looked like a waterfall of light, cascading downward, but never reaching a bottom.
Cloud Dancer flew through the waterfall cloud, and Leo felt the light cascade over him. It didn't wet him like water, but filled him with a warm, glowing feeling, as if he had swallowed a piece of sunshine. "This is beautiful," Leo whispered, and his words floated away in bubbles of light that popped silently, releasing tiny rainbows. They continued their dream flight, passing through clouds that sang and clouds that told stories in whispered voices. They flew alongside cloudbirds that weren't really birds, but ideas of birds, perfect in their flight. They watched as two cloud cats played with a ball of swirling mist, batting it back and forth with paws made of condensed starlight. Everything in this dream sky was peaceful. There was no hurry, no worry, no fear. There was only beauty and wonder, and the gentle rhythm of Cloud Dancer's flight. Leo realized he could direct their flight with his thoughts alone. He thought of the ocean, and immediately they were flying over cloud waves that crashed in silent splendor against cloud cliffs. He thought of mountains, and there they were, flying between peaks made of cumulus and stratus, with snowcaps of cirrus ice. But always, eventually, he thought of home. And always, Cloud Dancer understood, turning their flight back toward the familiar, back toward the pillow waiting in his room. In his dream, Leo felt the flight beginning to slow. Cloud Dancer's wings beat more gently, their pace becoming a leisurely drift rather than purposeful flight. They were descending now through layers of dream sky that became gradually darker, gradually more solid. The lavender light faded to deep blue, then to violet, then to the soft black of deepest night. Stars appeared, but these were different from the stars in the waking sky. These dream stars were closer, and if Leo listened carefully, he could hear them humming, each with its own distinct note that together formed a celestial lullaby. Cloud Dancer flew lower until they were skimming the tops of dream trees, their leaves whispering secrets in a language just beyond understanding. The air here smelled of night-blooming flowers and cool earth, of safety and home. Ahead, Leo could see his house, but in the dream, it was made of gentle shadows and silver moonlight. The window to his room was open, a rectangle of soft gold light in the darkness. They approached the window, and Cloud Dancer slowed until they were barely moving, floating on the quiet currents of dream air. Leo could see his sleeping form in the bed,
his head on the pillow that was also Cloud Dancer in resting form. "It's time to wake up," Leo said in his dream, though he didn't want to leave. Cloud Dancer nodded, understanding. In dreams, all journeys must end, just as in waking. But endings in dreams are gentle things, soft transitions rather than hard stops. The dream Cloud Dancer nuzzled Leo's cheek, then began to dissolve, not into nothingness, but into the substance of the dream itself. The pony's form became mist, then light, then simply the feeling of being loved and safe. Leo felt himself sinking, not falling, but settling, like a feather drifting to rest on still water. He sank through the layers of dream, each one softer than the last, until he reached the deepest layer, the one that bordered waking. Here, everything was quiet. Here, there were no images, only feelings, contentment, peace, safety, love. He floated in this quiet place for what felt like both an instant and an eternity. Then, gently, he began to wake.
The first thing Leo felt was the pillow beneath his cheek. It was soft and cool, just as it had been when he first laid his head down. But as he became more awake, he could feel something else, a faint, lingering coolness deep within the pillow, like the memory of a cloud's touch. He opened his eyes slowly. Morning light filtered through his window, pale gold and gentle. The room was exactly as he had left it the night before, but somehow it felt different. It felt charged with the memory of flight, with the echo of Orange Twilight. He sat up and looked at his pillow. It appeared ordinary, white cotton case, slightly flattened where his head had been. But when he pressed his hand against it, he felt that coolness again, deep within the stuffing. "Good morning, Cloud Dancer," he whispered. There was no reply, but he didn't expect one. Cloud Dancer was resting now, gathering form in the afternoon clouds, preparing for their next journey. But a part of the cloud pony was always here, in the pillow, keeping watch over Leo's sleep. Leo climbed out of bed and went to the window. The morning sky was clear blue, with only a few wispy clouds near the horizon. They were white and ordinary, not yet ready to become Cloud Dancer. That would come later, when the afternoon sun turned them gold. He smiled, looking at those distant clouds. They were promises. Promises of another flight, another journey through Orange Twilight, another gentle landing on his pillow. The day stretched before him, full of ordinary wonders. Breakfast with his family, play in the backyard, books to read, games to play. But in the back of his mind, always, was the knowledge that afternoon would come, the golden hour would arrive, and Cloud Dancer would be waiting. He turned from the window, his feet patting softly on the floor, as he went to begin his day. Behind him, on his pillow, a single wisp of mist rose, hung in the air for a moment, catching the morning light, then dissolved into nothing. Or almost nothing. For those with eyes to see, it left behind a tiny silver sparkle that settled on the windowsill. A reminder that magic is never truly gone, only resting, waiting for the right moment to return. And so the cycle continued, as it did every day. Waking to morning, waiting for afternoon, flying at twilight, dreaming at night. Each part perfect in its way, each moment a piece of a larger wonder. Leo went about his morning, but in his heart, he was already flying. And somewhere, in the gathering clouds, a misty pony was already waiting, patient and loving, ready for their next journey together, when the afternoon turned gold, and the world softened at the edges. For this was their story. The story of a child and a cloud pony, of Orange Twilight and gentle landings. And it was a story that would continue, not just for one night, but for many. Each flight unique, each landing soft, each dream filled with sky. And somewhere, in a room much like Leo's, another child might be looking at the afternoon clouds, wondering if they too could summon a pony, ride the twilight, touch the mountains, and land softly on a pillow? Perhaps they could, for the world is full of such magic, waiting only for those with the patience to watch the clouds, the courage to whisper invitations, and the heart to believe in orange twilight and cloud ponies and pillows that remember flight. And so, dear listener, as you close your eyes tonight, look not at the ceiling, but at the space just behind your eyelids. There, in that private darkness, you might see clouds gathering. You might feel a cool, misty presence. You might hear the distant chime of stars. And if you whisper the right words, with just the right softness, you too might feel yourself rising, not from your bed, but within it, carried on misty hooves through orange twilight, over mountain peaks, and back again to your own pillow, where dreams wait like patient clouds, ready to carry you wherever your heart wishes to go. But for now, simply rest. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the pillow beneath you, cool and soft. Imagine it gathering form, becoming something more than cloth and stuffing, becoming a cloud, becoming a friend, becoming a vessel for dreams. Sleep now. The afternoon clouds are gathering. The twilight is deepening to orange. The mountains are waiting, their peaks touched with the last golden light. And somewhere, a misty pony is turning its head, listening, waiting for a whisper, ready to carry a child, or a dreamer of any age, on a journey through the gentle sky. Good night. May your dreams be as soft as cloud mist, as bright as twilight, as peaceful as mountain peaks at dusk. And may you always land softly, always return safely, always find your pillow waiting, a perfect landing place for all your journeys, waking and dreaming alike. Sleep. Just sleep. Everything else will wait until morning.